Facebook television broadcast, you can go to Facebook Live Events. Type in The Wells Reports. The show will pop up right in front of your very eyes. Join us if you will. We'll look forward to hearing from you. We've got a chat room in there. People can go to the chat room and talk about whatever it is that we're talking about, and they can interact. It's a lively little conversation in there, and you should go in there and you should be a part of it. So once again, go to YouTubeLiveEvents.com, and then or just YouTube, and then hit Live Events. And then what you should do is you should then sort of I guess you can either subscribe or something to get you into the chat room. I don't know how that works, but if you ask someone in the chat room, they will be more than happy to tell you about it. Okay, so there you go. Telephone number again is 844-927-6691. Who will Alabama voters choose for the U.S. Senate today, and why? When it comes down to the ugliest election in recent memory, which side of American politics is damaging themselves worse? One, the mainstream media has absolutely, beyond the pale, screwed itself up. This is without doubt the worst drubbing of an American political official that I've ever seen. I've never seen anything worse than this. This is all innuendo. This is all innuendo. This is all allegation. This is all unproven poppycockian crap. There are 13 people involved in this. 13 people with no proof. Just allegations. No proof, just allegations. Is that going to be enough? Is that going to be enough to dictate who ends up in Washington, D.C. to represent voters in this country? Are you okay with that being the case? To me, I think that is just plain nutty stupidness. Seriously. I think it's just complete stupidness. To allow this mainstream media that has lost its way, that cannot report the truth. It can only report the politics. It looks straight through all of the facts, looks straight through all of the reality, and goes straight for the politics and reports that instead of news. I am interested in what you think. 844-927-6691. This is without fail, without doubt, perhaps the most damaging event in American elective politics ever, because of the implications. Thirteen people. That's how many people it takes to destroy a 40-year public servant in a state. That's how much the mainstream media, that's how far the mainstream media will go in an effort to get another Democrat in the Senate of the United States. Because that's what this all comes down to. Remember, the Washington Post is the only newspaper that's ever actually published any of this. Nobody else has. Everybody else, all the other news organizations, have only published reactions to the Washington Post pieces. That is significant. The Washington Post is out there hanging by a thread. And so far, there is nothing that backs up anything that these 13 people are saying. 13 people. 13 people and the Washington Post and the mainstream media is all it takes to destroy someone in the United States. And there might be a lot of smug Democrats out there at this particular moment saying, boy, we really got them this time. Yeah, okay. But you keep your eyes on this mainstream media. This is what we call a fair weather friend. You'll notice that a whole bunch of people left government service based on sexual harassment charges, not based on sexual harassment convictions. Simple charges would do. We're keeping our eye on the vote. We're keeping our eye on the reporting. We'll let you know exactly what's going on as it continues. You are listening to the Wells Report. This is the USA Radio Network. Back with more in a moment.
All right, sir. Sounding good.
Thank you. What?
Chris is sitting here telling me how good Sarah Huckabee Sanders looks.
Well, she's
Unique.
Shall we say, she has offbeat beauty.
That's a good one.
Don't you think?
Son of a bitch.
No, I am not. What you just said. Not a bit.
He said she's a 10.
Okay. I can tell that she is not 10, in fact, because if she was, Roy Moore would be hanging around with her. See, that's a joke. See, that's a joke right there.
That's a good one.
And six people are out there on Facebook land going, did he just say that really? That's humor. If you're in Facebook land, that is called humor. It's not based in reality. I'm just playing. Okay? Yeah. Jeez. JC Fab, Mark Maynard, Stephen Poppel. Or is it Popple? Must be Poppel. See, let's see. Hello, friends. All right, let's go ahead and do something we didn't do yesterday. Let's go ahead and toss the Wells Report up on the Wells Report page of Facebook. What do you think? Let's see here. The Wells Report. Let's see if I can do that. I should be able to do that. Hello? Oh, I must be there. No. There we are. Okay. Let's see. Hey, let's see. Jube Dankworth, like page. I'm like, okay, I like it. Fine. It's great. All right. Here we go.
All right, back in 1 minute.
Mm-hmm. Will you stop it? Stay on this page. Thank you very much. All right.
All right, back in 10 seconds.
10 dang seconds. You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number, as always, 844-927-6691. You are listening to America's only interactive newscast. We give you the news, then we tell you what the facts are in the news, then I comment on those facts, and then what we do is you debate the commentary with me. That's the way this works. This was interesting. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York, she's a Democrat. I know that comes as a surprise. Yesterday called for President Trump to immediately resign over allegations, mind you, of sexual misconduct levied against him. 3 of Trump's accusers, who have made their charges public before, reemerged yesterday with an interview with NBC's Megyn Kelly and a news conference calling for Trump to be investigated. Gillibrand joined Senators Cory Booker, Bernie Sanders, Jeff Merkley in calling on Trump to step down during an interview with CNN's Christiane Amanpour. Well, Mr. President, President Trump should resign, she said. These allegations are credible. They are numerous. I've heard these women's testimony. Many of them are heartbreaking, and President Trump should resign his position. So, based on allegations from 3 women, an American president should leave office. Is that really the absurdist claptrap that Senator Gillibrand is foisting on the American people? Yes. Unfortunately, it's also the ridiculous claptrap that the mainstream media is firing at the people of the United States. There have been amazingly stupid responses to this very same story. President Trump used a suggestive tweet today to attack a Democrat lawmaker who has called for his resignation after multiple women renewed their sexual misconduct allegations against him. In a message posted just after 8 o'clock this morning Eastern Time, Trump wrote that Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, the Democrat of New York, was a lightweight who would do anything for campaign contributions. Trump didn't explain further what he meant, and the White House did not respond for a request for clarifications. Lightweight Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, I'm reading from the text right now. Lightweight Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, a total flunky for Chuck Schumer and someone who would come to my office begging for campaign contributions not so long ago, open parentheses, and would do anything for them, close parentheses, is now in the ring fighting against Trump. Very disloyal to Bill and crooked, used. What she's talking about is what he's talking about is she's being very disloyal to Bill Clinton. You see, Kirsten Gillibrand has no problem whatsoever with Bill Clinton or Hillary Clinton. There is no doubt about President Clinton's sexual harassment in office. The rather avuncular proof came in the staining of a blue dress, as I recall. With that being said, Kirsten Gillibrand didn't say President Clinton should resign. She was probably still in high school or at least college. But that's not the point. She stands with him every chance she gets. President Clinton, I mean. Staunch supporter of Hillary, the chief enabler of the chief executive. She has zero credibility on this. Trump did not respond to shouted questions about his message during a midday signing ceremony for a defense signing bill in the White House Roosevelt Room. By the way, in case you're wondering, hundreds of millions of dollars or hundreds of billions of dollars in a defense spending bill being sent or being signed. And what are they talking about? They're talking about a Democrat senator's call based on the testimony of 3 women for an American president to step aside. That is what's being reported by the worldwide leader in news. That's, of course, CNN. Then, of course, Kirsten Gillibrand, after hearing back from the president, said, "You cannot silence me or the millions of women who have gotten off the sidelines to speak about unfitness and the shame that you have brought to the Oval Office." Again, this is selective memory here. Okay? Selective memory. And once again, it leads right back to President Clinton's choice of humidors in the Oval Office. Gillibrand called Trump's online insult derogatory. Well, most insults are. The simple case of the matter is the president did not throw anything sexist out there at all. He did say that Senator Kirsten Gillibrand would do anything for a political contribution. That covers a lot of ground. But of course, it has to be sexist because, well, Bill Clinton, because Donald Trump's involved. I see it as a sexist smear. I mean, that's what it is. It's part of our president's efforts to name call, and it's not going to silence me. It's not going to silence me. It is, however, going to make you repeat yourself. Repeat yourself. It's intended to silence me 3 times. It's not going to silence the women who have stood up against him directly. It's not going to silence the million of women who have been speaking out every day since his inauguration about things they disagree with. Millions of women speaking out every day since his inauguration about things they disagree with. Okay. According to the Federal Election Commission documents, Trump donated $4,800 to Gillibrand for Senate in 2010, $2,100 to the Gillibrand Victory Fund in 2007. A source close to Gillibrand said the senator did visit Trump in his office in 2010 and noted that his daughter Ivanka was there the entire time. Darn. Because if Ivanka hadn't been there, think of the opportunity that Senator Elizabeth Warren then decided to weigh in. And you know what she said? She started her entire response to President Trump by calling Senator Gillibrand a slut. Democrat senators are coming to Senator Kirsten Gillibrand's defense after President Donald Trump called her a lightweight, blasted the New York Democrat as a flunky, and used. Senator Elizabeth Warren, a fierce critic of the president, tweeted a reply to Trump. This is Senator Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas. A fierce critic of the president tweeted a reply to Trump asking if he's trying to slut shame Gillibrand. I'm sorry, the president didn't bring anything having to do with the word slut into his tweet. Senator Warren. So why are you calling Senator Gillibrand a slut? The president was not trying to slut shame anybody. Are you really going to bully, intimidate, and slut shame Senator Gillibrand? Do you know who you're picking a fight with? Good luck with that, real Donald Trump. Nevertheless, hashtag she persisted. Yeah. Is sexual harassment enough to remove a president? Yes or no, and why? 844-927-6691. 844-927-6691. Is sexual harassment enough to remove a president? Yes or no, and why? In point of fact, it is not enough. No one, and I mean no one on Capitol Hill, had anything to do with trying to remove President Clinton from office until he lied in federal court. It doesn't make any difference what the president was lying about in federal court. It only matters that he was lying in federal court. And he got impeached for it. Should he have been removed from office? No. I agreed that he should have been impeached. I agreed with the Senate that he should not have been removed. I think it was perfect the way that was handled. In this particular case, the President of the United States is being run to earth by 3 people and a senator with a mouth. Telephone number 844-927-6691. 844-927-6691. Answer me. Is sexual harassment enough to remove a president from office? Yes or no, and why? I don't normally talk about other people in this industry. Tucker Carlson, however, on Fox News, reacted to Senator Kirsten Gillibrand's demand that embattled Senator Al Franken resign. This was from December 6th. Gillibrand is an opportunist and a phony, Carlson said to the junior senator, who took the seat of Hillary Clinton after being appointed by then Governor David Paterson. Gillibrand, who touted her support for the Clintons, was chosen by Paterson after former first daughter Caroline Kennedy eventually declined to pursue the appointment. Carlson showed a picture of Gillibrand with Bill Clinton, mentioned her formerly unwavering support for Hillary Clinton's presidential aspirations. He said Gillibrand gave cover to those accused of sexual misconduct when it was convenient, noting claims by Juanita Broaddrick that the former president raped her. Nothing has changed except for Gillibrand's own political calculations. She is a fraud, said Tucker Carlson. Carlson then warned that people should not take glee in other people's downfall. And so, is sexual harassment enough? Is it enough of a serious, just the charge? We're not talking about actual sexual harassment. We're talking about a charge of sexual harassment. Is that enough to remove a sitting president? Now remember, everybody who's quit so far admitted their guilt and then quit. The only person that has stood up to this ugly maelstrom is Senate candidate Roy Moore. He's the only one that stood up to this. And the president today, when he stood up to Senator Gillibrand, fierce supporter for the enabler in charge, the enabler in chief of the chief executive of the United States at one time. And here we are. Now we're going to remove a president. This is yet, what is this, the third different way the left has tried to come up with a way of getting this president out of office? To disenfranchise half of the voters of the United States? You want to see a mess? You want to see a real mess? Keep after it. Just keep after this ugly, disgusting politics of hate. You just keep after it. Nothing has been said in this entire sad affair that is more true than what goes around comes around. I will personally accept heartfelt apologies 5 or 6 years from now when all this comes around and people say, you know, John, when you were talking about this, I thought you were full of crap, but boy, you really handled that right. I will graciously accept the mea culpas and public apologies from Democrats who call this radio broadcast. When suddenly the shoe's on the other foot, and the Democrats are the ones that are in trouble with the mainstream media, it'll happen. You just got to wait for the right opportunity. That's what the mainstream media is waiting for. Just the right opportunity to start taking out Democrats too. Because if you are the mainstream media and you are doing whatever is necessary to call the shots in various elections around the nation when it comes to who's going to be sitting in the United States Senate and who isn't going to be sitting in the United States Senate. And remember, with Doug Jones, is that his name? Doug Jones in Alabama? With him showing up, that's one more seat closer to a tie game in the United States Senate. I never thought I'd see more damaging politics in the United States than what I saw during the Obama years. I never thought I'd see more damaging politics, the racist race baiting, the whole 9 yards. But what I'm seeing now is I'm seeing racist politics. I'm seeing damaging politics being practiced by the mainstream media against a elected president of the United States. Not only is it unseemly, it's illegal. I'm waiting to see just exactly how this comes down, but it's going to get ugly. A lot uglier than it is now, in my view. Unless somebody says, hey, enough is enough. I'm saying it. I wonder if they'll listen. This is the Wells Report of the USA Radio Network.
All right, sir. Sounding good.
Thank you.
We got about 3.5 minutes. Be right back, man. I'm gonna run to the bathroom.
Go ahead.
Be back in 1 minute, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. All right, 10 seconds.
Yes, sir. You are listening to the Wells Report. I am John David Wells. Our telephone number is 844-927-6691. 844-927-6691. Lindsey Vaughn is learning the rather interesting cost of free speech. She's been describing the backlash she's faced when she made remarks about President Donald Trump on CNN last week, saying that she would represent the American people. How very nice of her. But she would not be representing the president when she skis at the 2018 Pyeongchang Winter Games. She is preparing for the Olympics. Someone wrote that they had told her God is punishing her for being anti-Trump. I doubt it very sincerely. My recent comments opened up my eyes as to how divided we are right now, said Vaughn, calling the comments hurtful. Well, I mean, just keep saying nasty crap about people that vote, about the president that people voted for. I mean, what people don't understand is they'll say, who are these idiots that voted for Donald Trump? That's the wrong question. That is the wrong question. The correct question is, why did they vote for him? Oh, everybody's talking about, voting for President Trump. He's just a useless ball of hate and disgust. That's all he is. Yeah, well, why did the American people vote for him? See, that's the answer to the question that needs to be asked. Or that's the question that is not being answered, that comes from a question that should be asked more often. The reason that people voted for Donald Trump is because politicians in this nation, in this time frame, are not doing the job that American voters want them to do. For whatever reason. For whatever reason. The people of the United States have the right to put anybody into the presidency they choose. Anyone. And that's exactly what they did. The issue that led the way was immigration. Going to close the border down south. People of America responded. Going to do something about terrorism. People of America responded. On and on and on. Donald Trump started running for office, and suddenly we realized that all kinds of different groups of people that had been hiding in plain sight suddenly were exposed to the reality that they just couldn't keep themselves from spewing. First were all those mainstream Republicans. Mainstream Republicans saying, hey, Donald Trump is beneath the actual office of the presidency. He's beneath the presidency. My God, what a terrible man. He's a charlatan. He's a fake. Well, they need to pay more attention, in my view. They need to pay more attention to the works and the collected quotes of Thomas Jefferson. Only the American people know who the president of the United States should be. Only the American people know what liberty and freedom is. To, for whatever reason, decide that politicians know more about either subject is true folly. Damaging to the United States, and it's true, it is. The people of the United States put Donald Trump in office because politicians didn't do their job. So if Lindsey Vaughn really wants to get to the heart of the matter, she really wants to get to the things that are really hurtful to the United States of America, start talking about the people that have been elected for the last 30 years and their complete inaction on the things that the people of America want out of their government. That's the true hurtful thing, as I see it. Telephone number 844-927-6691. Call us.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on hour one. All right, man. I'll be back in 1 minute. right, man, you got 45 seconds.
40 damn 5 seconds, Nishnerness.
One of these idiots that does the news put in. I don't mean to call them that.
What?
One of these news guys.
One of these news guys.
They put in a 1 minute file for the segment that's supposed to be a minute and a half.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's a whoopsie.
It's always something with these guys, man.
Yeah, man.
All right, here we go in 10 seconds.
North to south, coast to coast. This is the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Telephone number waiting for you is 844-927-6691. I say it too fast, I'm sure. 844-927-6691. A top member of President Trump's legal team called today for the appointment of separate special prosecutors to look into potential conflicts involving Justice Department and FBI officials. Jay Sekulow is a noted pundit and lawyer. He's truly a talented and gifted guy. He made the call following a Fox News report revealing that the wife of a DOJ official demoted for concealing his meetings with the firm behind the anti-Trump dossier herself worked for the same firm, Fusion GPS, in the 2016 election. This is so clearly, so obviously, nothing short of an absolutely disqualifying conflict of interest. There is no possible way this could have gone unnoticed by Robert Mueller, who is doing this ridiculous mess, doing this ridiculous investigation. I'm truly annoyed with all of this. And it is my hope that at some point, I mean, this is going to take, look, the president of the United States has been trying to rise above all this. He has been waiting for all of this to stop. It is not going to stop. It's getting worse every moment. Truly, the president needs to react. And the best way of reacting is to indeed start going after these people like they've gone after you. That's what it's going to take. No one else is going to be able to do anything close to getting this taken care of. And it's about time that the president go ahead and move forward with this. The special prosecutor does indeed need to be appointed. And Sekulow said it this way: the Department of Justice and the FBI cannot ignore the multiple problems that have been created by these obvious conflicts of interest. These new revelations require the appointment of a special counsel to investigate. Trump's team is not at this point making any formal petition to seek a special prosecutor, but is making its views known. Sekulow stressed that this call is not connected to special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia's meddling investigation or Trump's confidence in Mueller. I was asked about it and let my feelings be known, said Jay Sekulow. A group of Republicans for months have been calling for an appointment of a second special counsel to probe certain Obama and Clinton era related controversies, something that Attorney General Jeff Sessions suggests he's considering. He needs to get off the dime. Mr. Attorney General, you need to get off the dime. You need to start appointing these special prosecutors. You need to start going after these people for the sake of the nation. Now that we have become a nation of just innuendo and very little else, Now that we have become that, it is time for we the people to be at least put in a situation where we can see the other side of this coin. Senator Lindsey Graham also tweeted, he said, I'll be challenging Republicans and Democrats on the Senate Judiciary Committee to support a special counsel to investigate all things 2016, not just Trump and Russia. So, I mean, as Senator Lindsey Graham blows in the wind, God bless him, I have no idea where he's going to come up next. I don't know where he's going to be back from next. I mean, it's just one of those incredible things. It's just it's annoying. It's annoying at the highest possible levels for me. The revelations about the DOJ official and his wife follow reports the FBI official was removed from Mueller's team this year after anti-Trump texts were discovered that he exchanged with another investigator whom with he was romantically involved. By the way, that's sexual harassment in the workplace, just in case you're wondering. Together, the details fueled Republicans concerned about the objectivity of key officials at the DOJ and the FBI, you think? You think there are, I mean, really, do you think there are DOJ and FBI officials that may be just the least bit, shall we say, dirty in all of this? You think they might just have small problems with their objectivity involved in this investigation? Bruce Orr is the guy we're talking about. Bruce Orr was demoted amid an investigation into his contacts with Fusion GPS-tied figures, including his wife. Fox News learned the evidence collected by the House Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, chaired by Representative Devin Nunes of California, indicates that Orr met during the 2016 campaign with Christopher Steele, the former British spy who authored the Dossier. Additionally, House investigators have determined that Orr met shortly after the election with Glenn Simpson, the founder of Fusion GPS, the opposition research firm that hired Steele to compile the dossier, with funds supplied by the Hillary Clinton campaign and the Democrat National Committee, funds that eventually ended up going through Christopher Steele in Britain to Russian officials in Russia. That's not collusion with Russia, is it? Yesterday, Fox News reported that House Intelligence Committee investigators confirmed the official's wife, Nellie Orr, worked for Fusion GPS. How flippin' cozy is that? How cozy is it? So we get Representative Sessions for 6 minutes? That's it. The person I'm talking about, by the way, is the chairman of the House Rules Committee, Congressman Pete Sessions from the state of Texas. What?
Votes and meetings, man. That's all I can say.
Votes and meetings.
Yep. Busy people.
I know they're busy people, but did you tell them that we were the Wells Report?
I did.
Did you tell them that we were on the USA Radio Network, coast to coast in America?
Uh-huh.
And they didn't care?
Yeah. Votes and meetings.
Wow.
Sorry about me.
You don't suppose Charlie Jones doesn't have to put up with this, does he? Wayne Allen Root doesn't have to put up with this. I mean, whenever Wayne Allen Root calls somebody, they all start shaking and wetting their pants and saying, of course, I'll be on the air with you, Mr. Root.
I'm not Wayne Allen Root, so.
No, I know that.
Oh, right.
Well, but you need to contact his producer and find out just what it takes to get the kind of horsepower necessary to be able to get these people to shake and cringe when we call.
Okay.
See, that's why he got the job. He says, yeah. You may think that he's just placating me. You may think he's just patronizing me. No, he's going out there right now to sharpen his bayonet. That's right. Who gave him the bayonet? Me. Yes, man. Yes, sir. Where were we? Oh, yeah. By the way, in case you're wondering, we have the chairman of the House Rules Committee, Congressman Pete Sessions of Texas, for 6 minutes in what? What time is it? in an hour and 10 minutes. So in an hour and 10 minutes, we'll have him for 6 minutes. That'll be enough for Pete Sessions. What? Oh, you mean that was... Oh, so that was Eastern time.
Yeah, that's in like 5 minutes.
Did you put Eastern time?
I think I did.
You did not put Eastern time on the page. See, you screwed this up.
I screwed that up, yes. Technically, I'm right.
Apparently, we're going to have Representative Pete Sessions, the chairman of the House Rules Committee, in approximately 11 minutes. Thank you, executive producer, the Philip Brown. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. By the way, that's about enough time for Pete Sessions to answer 1/3 of a question. Just in case you're wondering. So we're talking about Bruce Orr, and we're talking about his wife, Nellie Orr. And we're talking about the fact that Bruce Orr was a DOJ lawyer who has now been demoted. And his wife, Nellie Orr, worked at Fusion GPS and apparently was clueless about the fact that Bruce Orr was having a fling-a-ding with one of his coworkers at the DOJ. But enough about that. Let's not dwell there. I mean, that's only for presidents and Alabama Senate candidates. We're still not sure whether or not Nellie Orr had anything to do with the dossier, but if she's working for Fusion GPS and she's connected with Bruce Orr, who is a guy who is working with the DOJ, you would expect there'd be a reason why she was there. Gosh, this makes me sick. Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe, this being reported by Chad Pergram, Edmund DeMarsh from Fox News. Deputy FBI Director Andrew McCabe, who is currently the intermittent, or not the intermittent, but the he's the current FBI Director. Intermittent. That's funny. Anyway, he was reportedly scheduled to testify behind closed doors in front of the House Intelligence Committee today. Yeah, they're going to meet next week. Yeah, there was a scheduling error. Yeah. The testimony was likely to focus on Peter Strzok's role in the Hillary Clinton email investigation. Hillary Clinton email investigation, Hillary Clinton Uranium One investigation, Hillary Clinton Benghazi investigation. This guy got around. If Hillary Clinton's name was on it, well, he was Hillary Clinton's special FBI special agent. Her very personal special agent. Her very own. Yeah, this is great. Listen to what they say about this. House investigators previously told Fox News they have long regarded Strzok as a key figure in the chain of events when the Bureau in 2016 received the infamous anti-Trump dossier, which launched a counterintelligence investigation into possible Russian meddling in the election. Listen to this. This is how they explained the scheduling error for FBI Director Andrew McCabe. There was a routine scheduling error after the dates were switched on an internal email, and we're happy to provide the committee. Yeah. There was a routine scheduling error. That means, it was a scheduling error that happens as a routine basis for the FBI. Apparently, the dates were switched on an internal email. This, of course, is something that CNN has had trouble with, too. There's more about this coming up in just a couple of minutes. Now, pay very close attention. At some point, we're only going to have them for 4 minutes. Why did I say 6 minutes? We'll have 4 minutes with the chairman of the House Rules Committee, Pete Sessions of Texas, coming up after this break. Unless we've screwed up our math yet again. The Philip Brown, our executive producer, is now looking quizzically at the clock to try to determine whether or not he's actually got the right times. So we may or may not have Pete Sessions next on the Wells Report.
That was pretty good.
Huh?
That was pretty good. When
He's going to be on 26, right? No, 24. I'm sorry, 24. Okay. All right. So it is 6 minutes. Okay, good. All right.
And I apologize for writing the wrong time.
Wow.
I've been going back and forth with her, with Caroline.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes, so that's-
Sure. 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 All righty then. Hum diggly doom bum boodlombo biba bibe doolio schoolio. Mwah.
Because of course, I don't know why.
What?
I said earlier this morning, so I was like, why don't we just do tomorrow? If there's all this other stuff happening today, we could just do tomorrow.
And what did she say?
So we'd probably do such and such. Whatever.
Ah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's when she suggested 4.
Uh-huh.
And then, yeah. Or not 4.
And then
5.
yeah. And then yeah. Yeah, oh yeah.
Sorry about
I wonder, one of my dear friends,
Yeah.
Dirk Steele, who happens to live in Denver, Colorado. Dirk Steele is kind of uneasy with the fact that we allow the backstage talk to go down the network. Have you, as the executive producer of the broadcast, do you have any comment on that you'd like to share? Or?
It's nothing to me.
Okay.
I thought it was pretty funny.
Oh, you do? You think it's pretty funny? All this background garbage, gobbledygooky and crapola?
I thought it was pretty funny how you're messing with them about times and stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, it's nice. See, that's the one thing that I could always depend on with Vicky, is that she would have some idea of how the math actually worked. But now it appears as though the Philip Brown is just as well trained in math as I am.
Wait, what math?
What?
What are you talking about?
Do you do math? You don't do math, do you? You do some math?
Yeah, what math?
I can't do math.
I don't know. What math
Any
are you
math.
talking about?
Any math. Arithmetic.
I thought there was some sort
I can't even do arithmetic.
I thought there was some
Well, here's what I want you to do, big brain man. I want you to put your big brain on whether or not we should allow all of this falderall and fiddle-dee-dee to go down the background lane of
The chairman is holding.
Chairman Pete Sessions. Yes, he's holding now. Good.
There we go.
I told him we'll be back in 1 minute.
All right, cool.
Oh, 30 seconds.
30 seconds now.
Yeah.
Which is it? 1 minute or 30 seconds?
Now it's
Nobody's giving me good data. I need good data. I cannot make bricks without clay.
I gave you perfectly fine data.
You did.
Technically, I am right. If we were-
Uh-huh. Sure. There you let's see. Yes, the AG needs to get off his
10
butt.
seconds.
Yes, 10 seconds, everyone. Here we go. Places. You are listening to the Wells Report. My name is John David Wells. Thanks very much for being a part of our broadcast. And I want to say that especially to Chairman of the House Rules Committee from the state of Texas, Pete Sessions, Republican Congressman. Welcome once again to the Wells Report, but it's a different Wells Report, one that you have never been on before.
Well, I needed this opportunity today, brother. How are you?
I am doing wonderfully well. Chairman Pete Sessions and I have been friends for years. And I mean, he was one of the first people to welcome me to Texas, and has been nothing but gracious and incredibly helpful to this broadcast. And sir, it is a pleasure again to have you here on the national version of the broadcast, which started about 6 weeks ago. So there you go.
It's awesome. It's just awesome.
It's great to be here, sir. So talk to us a little bit in the minutes that we have. Unfortunately, few, but because you've been a busy guy, you've been doing all kinds of votes. Tell us quickly about those.
Well, in fact, as you know, last week we had a vote on the floor for reciprocity, allowing people who own a conceal and carry license to be able to go to other states that allow conceal and carry. Lots of smaller states do not have reciprocity laws. They just have not made it that far along, and we felt like this was a good constitutional way to ensure that a person who would choose to have the right to keep and bear arms and to carry would be able to do this across the country. Big opportunity for law-abiding citizens and to protect themselves. As you know, we near the time where next week we'll do two things at least, and one of them is we will fund the government so that we avoid any government shutdown. We're working that through. As you know, that requires 60 votes in the Senate. So it means that it's a compromise bill, a compromise agreement. And we also will have the great big tax bill. The tax bill is not an easy piece of legislation to understand, but it is, as passed by the House, $5.6 trillion worth of 10 years tax provisions, many times that have been there to certainly help people, but without what we call pop, without the ability to actually stimulate the economy. We were elected as Republicans. The president was elected, President Trump, to turn around the economic direction of the country. We feel like that the way to do that is to go to an economic model that will really move us to not only doubling GDP from what it was, but to move to 4% and then give some length to it over 4 or 5 years. We believe from over 100 economists who have approached us, who have said this is a way to get that done. So we'll be doing that next week when the conference report comes out. Can't report exactly what's in the bill right now. We're expected to know later this week.
What are your thoughts on the media reporting on this tax bill? The president thought it was pretty fair. Do you share those sentiments?
You know, what I would say is I don't know that there's any bill that's perfect. I have some druthers about how we handle that. As you know, I want us not to tax students who are in graduate programs with the money that they receive benefit from their schools. There are questions about state and local taxes and what threshold we're going to allow people to be able to deduct those taxes. But what I would say to you is that we have added 2 additional tax thresholds that will allow small business to be able to thrive. So we literally have added in these tax components to meet small business opportunities. Small businesses fail because of not only the cost, but because of taxation. So we've done that. We've doubled the deductions, that is the standard deduction for people, meaning fewer people have to itemize. We automatically give it to them. I think it could end up being a good stimulus package for the country.
Congressman Pete Sessions from the Texas 32nd, the chairman of the House Rules Committee. Sir, like I said, I'm glad to welcome you onto the national version of the Wells Report. It's you have been such a good friend for so many years, and I sincerely appreciate all the things you've taught me about the House and the rules and all of the things about American government, and I get to say so in front of the entire nation these days. Thank you very much for being a part of the broadcast. I know you're a busy guy. We'll hopefully have you back very soon.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too. One of the good guys in American government. I hope you understand that Chairman Pete Sessions of the House Rules Committee joining us on the Wells Report. Hopefully we'll hear from him again very, very soon. Coming up, more of a gigantic media mess and a Wells Report instant poll question. Love to hear from you as we return in just a moment on the USA Radio Network.
All right, man. Sounded good.
That was good. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Would you please thank the lovely Caroline for that interview, Mr. Executive Producerman? Mr. Executive Producerman. microphone space. Hi, I'm back. Let me do this then. Hang on. Say hello. Testing 1 2. Testing 1 2 3 5 5 4 3 2 1. 1 2 3 5 5 4 3 2 1. Okay. Should be back. I wonder why that happened. That hasn't happened since we've been here in our new digs. Okay. Okay, we have audio. Sorry, guys. Larry King, 5x5. Okay. Do 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 do. Fly like a beagle. Wow, it's very good. Wow. Interesting. It's very impressive. Very impressivo. Where can we answer the poll? I'm not located, but I'm driving. Oh. Okay. All right. Doodle-doodle-doot, doodle-doodle-doop, bobbity-boop, boppay. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. All right. Let's see. Funky pair of scissors. Oh, headphones. Oh. You are listening to the Wells Report. I am John David Wells. Telephone number is 844-927-6691. 844-927-6691. Jimmy Kimmel is an incredibly talented guy. I like Jimmy Kimmel a lot. I love his humor. I love his radio show. Although I think that for those people that have followed in the footsteps of Johnny Carson, David Letterman, so on, their actual interview skills are more, essentially bridges to borderline professionally funny comedy that is very good. Jimmy Kimmel started the show off yesterday with a monologue featuring his baby son, Billy. Now, if you don't know about Billy, Billy was born with a heart condition, needed surgery just after birth. He had a second surgery last week. Kimmel was holding his son during his monologue while he was attacking the GOP for putting fundraising off for CHIP amid tax reform negotiations. Kimmel looked at his son, got emotional. He said, "Daddy cries on TV, but Billy doesn't. That's unbelievable." Kimmel said that delayed funding for CHIP is threatening children's well-being from every income level in the United States. CHIP covers around 9 million kids whose parents make too much money to qualify for Medicaid but don't have enough affordable coverage through their jobs. The comedian said that almost everyone knows someone who's covered under CHIP because he claimed 1 in 8 kids are signed up for the child health insurance program. It's not controversial. It's not a partisan thing. Citing the last funding vote for CHIP in 2015, which passed 392 to 37 in the House, 92 to 8 in the Senate. Overwhelming Democrats and Republicans supported until now. Now CHIP has become a bargaining chip. He criticized Republican lawmakers for putting CHIP on the back burner while negotiating a new tax reform plan, which means that parents of children with cancer, diabetes, heart problems are about to get letters saying their coverage can get cut next month. Merry Christmas, right? There's only one small problem with this heartrending story and a beautiful story of love between father and son. Legislation to fund the Children's Health Insurance Program for 5 years passed the House Friday, November 3rd. Was November 3rd Friday? Was November 3rd a Friday? Let me double check here. Let me see what I got here. Nope, that's not the right thing. Get rid of that. Go back to over here. Go back to over here. And November 3rd was, yes, indeed, it was a Friday. See, the thing about this is that the Senate has it. The Senate Finance Committee passed its own version of the legislation, but has yet to agree to offsets to fund it. So if you want to discuss what's actually going on, then what you need to realize is that only part of the Republican Party, the Senate part of the Republican Party, is doing the wrong thing, Mr. Kimmel. Yes, it's being held up in the Senate. Yes, it's being held up in the Senate by the Democrat Party's best friend, and that, of course, would be Mitch McConnell. Why is it being held up in the United States Senate? Because that's what they do. One of these days, I'll figure out what they do in the United States Senate, and maybe I'll be able to explain it to you. I don't know that it's actually going to be something that can be figured out, but I'll try because I think that's my job. My job is to try to explain stuff to you that's virtually impossible to understand. You're listening to the Wells Report. Speaking of taxes, there are ways that people want to improve the Trump GOP bill, the Senate bill, and the tax bill. We'll get to that coming up in just a couple of seconds, bringing you the news, the real news, the facts, commentary, and debate. This is the Wells Report. You are listening to the USA Radio Network.
All right, man. Did you get that thing for the stream working?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yes, indeedy.
All right, cool. I'm gonna step away for 1 second. I'll be right back, man.
Okay, brother.
You got 6 minutes or so.
All right, man. What? That's what I should put down by the question. Random. Identify. I thought I would throw them. Oh. What are they asking you anyway? That's what I need to know. I need to know what they're asking. Oh my goodness. Approve. Approve. It's decision day in Alabama. Alabama. Alabama, llama. Alabama. Oh, goodness gracious. See, this is why I wear shirts that match coffee. How do I self-identify your race? Are
you back in 1 minute, man?
You're welcome. Thank you. Uh-huh. Yeah.
All right, man. Here we go. 10 seconds.
Right then. North to south, coast to coast. This is the Wells Report. Hi, my name is John David Wells. Our telephone number is 844-927-6691. 844-927-6691. Are you waiting for this tax bill to get passed? I am. I can hardly wait to see what they're going to be doing with our taxes. The last time this happened, it ignited a growth and a boom in the American economy that lasted 20 years. I don't know how long it's going to last this time around, but I hope that it's good and amazing. That's what I hope. They are currently working on this thing in committee. It's in a conference committee. Do you know what that is? A conference committee is where they pass a version of a bill in the House of Representatives. They pass a version of the House in the Senate. And what they do is they come together in a conference committee and they reconcile the differences between the two bills, coming up with a bill that is then sent back to both chambers and voted on up or down. This one is particularly important. This particular conference committee is important because not only are they trying to come up with a bill that both sides, both houses can agree to, but what they are doing is they're also trying to do it in such a way so that the bills are completely and totally exactly correct and exactly the same, because that is the way the Senate rules work if you want to pass something through reconciliation. Reconciliation means that you only need a simple majority to pass a bill in the United States Senate. One of the great checks and balances of our American legislative system is the fact that the Senate of the United States, in a bicameral legislative plan, has a higher threshold to pass anything than the House of Representatives. A simple majority will do in the House of Representatives. However, in the Senate, you have to have 60 votes. The likelihood of a supermajority, that being a party that would have 60 votes plus the vice president of the United States for 61, is very remote. It happens, but not very often. Now, don't get me wrong. If the Democrats keep screwing up, there will be a supermajority of Republicans. My concern, of course, is that the more people show up in Washington, D.C. that are Republicans, the less the Republican Party is able to do. That's because they're just sort of lazy. They don't have any real reason to try to actually move anything forward. So what they do is they don't move anything forward. Simple, basic, straightforward. So what the Republican Party needs to do at this particular moment is they need to go ahead and move on this tax bill to get this passed before Christmas, and they probably will. It'll probably get signed by the president for that particular reason. Be a very nice Christmas present for most people in the United States, but not necessarily at all. Not all of us. In other words, if you live in a state, say, for example, like California or New York, where there's a state income tax, you are probably not going to be able to withhold that. In other words, write that off in your federal taxes. You used to be able to. But somebody suddenly realized that that was being used as an opportunity to really rip off the public. Because if you live in California, you're paying a huge California state tax. And no matter how much you pay, it's never enough. Huge sales taxes, actual taxes in the you got to have actual taxes in the income of your income taxes in California, plus all the other things you have to pay when you're in California. So if you're in a position there, you're probably going to lose money on this deal. But then again, you could probably get it back by saying, hey, California, why don't you lower my taxes? Of course, with Jerry Brown as the governor and just about everybody else in that state being a liberal-minded nincompoop, those imbeciles are not going to be able to figure out a way to cut your California sales tax until what they end up doing is they keep taxing and taxing and taxing until eventually there's only 15 people living in California because everybody else left because they couldn't afford it. And apparently that's happening. You can tell because Western states keep screwing themselves up, like Colorado. Colorado used to be a great place to live. And then Californians leaving California in the unbelievably stupid way they live there, moved out of California and then moved into Colorado. And then they tried to turn Colorado into California, which is they've actually had some success doing. So here we are. We're looking at this the Senate and House bill, this tax bill. The Senate-passed tax bill is a policy triumph that will provide a shot of performance-enhancing drugs to the veins of the economy, so says Stephen Moore of Newsmax. Not perfect, but with a combined effect of cutting business tax rates, eliminating the state and local tax deduction, and repealing the Obamacare individual mandate tax, we are at the precipice of the biggest conservative policy victory since the Reagan years. If Republicans were wise, the House would vote immediately to approve the Senate bill and get it to President Donald Trump's desk for signing before anything can go wrong. As we come to this conversation, There's a sudden slowdown for second thoughts. This being reported, by the way, from the LA Times. Linda Mascaro. The rush to finish the GOP tax overhaul has hit a snag. Republicans are grappling with substantial differences between the House and Senate versions. A pause to consider unintended consequences of the most massive rewrite of the tax code in a generation. Lawmakers are eager to pass the bill, President Trump's top domestic priority, by Christmas. They're also increasingly wary of political fallout from the hurried process and want to prevent embarrassing moments such as the scribbled text hastily added to the margin of the final Senate bill. Ooh, yeah. The end of any major legislative undertaking is often a sprint, but the final stretch of the GOP tax plan is being complicated by the accelerated process like none other in recent history. Republicans have made a decision which I can't fault them for, according to Ms. Lisa Mascaro, that the longer this bill hangs out there, the more barnacles attach. This, according to Jonathan Traub, the former Republican staff director of the House Ways and Means Committee, now managing principal at Deloitte Accounting, their tax policy group. We've seen time and time again big issues left out in the sun too long start to attract vultures. They need to move quickly to take advantage of the enthusiasm. Yes, they do. So Stephen Moore writing 4 ways to improve the Trump GOP tax bill. Keep your eyes on these because you may be seeing them in the final version. The Senate bill changes the rules for capital gains taxation. It requires shareholders to sell their oldest shares in a company before their newest purchased shares. The older the share, the larger the taxable capital gain. That might make sense, except that the gains on long-term stocks are not adjusted for inflation. So on many sales of long-held stock, much as half of the reported and taxable gain is due only to the compounding effect of inflation. This new FIFO rule, first in, first out, will require millions of Americans to pay additional tax on phantom gains and will discourage the very long-term investments that the economy needs right now. Repeal the corporate tax and local deductions. Big companies like Boeing and Microsoft will get to continue deducting their state and local taxes. Small businesses will not. This, by the way, is referred to as being absurd and only shows the continued power of K Street swamp lobbyists. That's K Street in Washington, D.C. This deduction requires taxpayers in low-tax states to subsidize companies in high-tax states, get rid of the corporate state and local deductions. And if such states, such as New Jersey, Iowa, Pennsylvania, will be forced to cut their corporate tax rates to stay competitive, it makes that a win-win for everybody. Exactly. The money raised by eliminating the state and local tax deduction for corporations would be used to pay for a reduction in the highest income tax rate. This would provide relief for people living in high tax states, such as New York, Connecticut, California. Well, we can put it in here and see if it survives, I guess. And then there's the George Soros loophole. George Soros just received $18 billion to his family foundation. How did that happen? Apparently, the money went in tax-free. Once again, according to Newsmax, they say that this might indeed be the biggest tax dodge in American history. Millions of billionaires who give money tax-free to private foundations should now pay capital gains taxes on those assets. This ought to raise hundreds of billions of dollars for the government over time and can lead to lower capital gains taxes in the future. So there you go, a few things. A few people are slowing down, trying to make sure that we don't go too far, too fast. And we can only hope that that indeed happens. That the people in the August chambers of the House and House of Representatives and the Senate actually are able to find a way to pass a real comprehensive tax bill that engages and aids those people who need that engagement and aid. But just doesn't stand there and just dangle it out for people and then say, oh, can't do it. Sorry, just can't do it. I want the Republican Party to get this right. I'm sure you do too. The question is, do they see it? And that I'm not sure about. I'm just not sure. Our telephone number, 844-927-6691, 844-927-6691. Very much interested in hearing what you have to say, 844-927-6691. You're listening to The Wells Report. This is the USA Radio Network. Back in a minute.
All right. Back in 1 minute, sir.
Yeah, I have high cheekbones. Yeah, I must be part Indian. Right. Yeah.
All right, back in 30 seconds.
Dang, 30 seconds then.
I wasn't aware the Indians had high cheekbones.
Yeah, they do. Of course they have high cheekbones. These exit polls are showing, sure seem to be confusing. Yeah, the election is always the best poll. By the way, what are they saying, Mark? I haven't been able to see any of this.
All right, here we go, man.
Okay. You are listening to the Wells Report. I'm John David Wells. 844-927-6691. 844-927-6691. Welcome to the broadcast. Thanks for listening. It means a lot to us. It does. By the way, earlier this afternoon, we had a moment to sit down with Congressman Pete Sessions, who, by the way, in case you're wondering, is the chairman of the House Rules Committee. Before any bill can make it into the House of Representatives on the floor for a floor vote, they have to agree to rules on how to bring that bill up to face a vote, and that is the Rules Committee. And Congressman Pete Sessions is a guy who is watching all of these. And one of the rules, of course, had to do with the House, the tax bill that they're currently working with in the House and the Senate. There's a piece of that bill that he wants to change. I don't know how they're going to be able to do it. They'll have to do it in conference. But what's going on is that there are grad students that are going to get hit because of a tax. And what they're trying to do is what Pete Sessions is trying to do, is trying to get that changed. A part of the success of the American dream is the direct result of our nation's exemplary higher education institutions. As a result, America is home to some of the best doctors, brightest legal minds, most innovative engineers, the world's most esteemed scholars. But as a result of a tax that they're working on in this particular thing, many of these individuals could be buried in debt. So what they're trying to do is they're working for an opportunity to not penalize students who want to get ahead and gain an edge in their fields. Because obviously continuing education is the best possible thing. Members of leadership are being contacted by Congressman Sessions. They're trying to keep the income exclusion for graduate tuition waivers in the tax reform package. That's the tax they're talking about. So there are certain things that are having to get taken care of, and these things are now the last little bits, the last few details on this tax bill. And once they get those done, then we'll be able to see what this bill does for all of us. It is my hope that more people have more money, because that's what it takes, but not just we, the people of the United States. You want corporate America to have more money too, so that they can start reinvesting in America. This idea to lower the actual corporate taxation rate in the United States is long, long overdue. 39%, excuse me? That's ridiculous. That is an absolute invitation for every American corporation to leave this country. And they have done it, especially during the Obama administration. It's really funny to listen to leftist politicians who really don't have a clue about economics, how economics actually works. It was amazing to listen to those guys in the Obama years complain about the fact that people were taking their corporate offices and moving them to another country, essentially flipping the ownership, the actual management of a U.S. held corporation to one in, say, Ireland, for example, that had lower taxes. They were complaining about it, but what else are these people supposed to do? These people, by virtue of the fact that they are indeed involved in corporations which use public money, they are demanded, it is demanded by corporation law in the United States that they do the absolute best they can to maximize profit and return for the stockholders involved in these corporations. It's just another one of these things that leftists do not get about economics. They think that all wealth and all economic growth, etc., emanates from the government. No, only the government can, the government can only screw this up. They can't make it any better. The only thing that they can do is they can get out of the way. When was the last time you saw a leftist progressive get out of the way of anything? You're listening to the Wells Report. Our telephone number is 844-927-6691, 844-927-6691. Any comment that you might have is very much welcome. We're looking forward to hearing from you today as we continue our work on this interactive news broadcast, the Wells Reports on the USA Radio Network. Back in a moment.
All right, sir. Sounding good.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much. You guys were certainly lucky. Do-do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. What? What?
Oh, nothing. I'm just talking to myself.
You're mumbling.
I was just talking to myself, man.
Mumbling, mumbling dice. Mumbling dice, get it? All right. Is your email address P Brown or PK Brown? P Brown.
All right, back in 1 minute.
Back in 1 minute. Back in 1 minute. Back in 1 minute. Back in 1 minute. Back in 1 minute. Back. Test 1, 2. Okay, good.
All right, back in 10 seconds.
This is the Wells Report, American Radio's very own interactive newscast. We give you the news, we give you the facts. I comment on the facts, and then we debate the commentary. You do that by joining us at 844-927-6691, 844-927-6691. I, like everyone else listening to this radio broadcast, have watched our society morph based on the external values or lack of values embodied in something called the internet, the World Wide Web. It's been with us for a long, long time. Started out as an academic exercise among the universities. Started out as a big database. And as more and more and more servers came online to be a part of the backbone of the internet, suddenly it took off in a way that surely mimics, say, for example, a computer system becoming self-aware. Suddenly, everything, and I mean everything in the world that could be found in an informational booklet of any kind could be found on the internet. Some of it was completely and totally enlightening. Some of it was pornographic and destructive. But it was all there. One of the things I noticed about the internet was that, hey, gosh, people aren't really polite with each other on the internet. Now, in the cases of the internet pages that I have anything to do with, I absolutely mandate that people treat each other nicely. I've gotten into many serious arguments with people who are really hard to deal with. Got into serious arguments about maintaining a status quo ante when it comes to proper behavior, proper manners on my pages. Lost friends because of it. Because I'm just not interested in people not dealing with each other in a reasonable way. As a parent, it was exceedingly difficult to raise a bright young male in our society over the last 20 years with that internet hanging over your shoulder. I went out of my way to make sure that Colton Joseph was not exposed to what you can be exposed to on the internet. I used to call it a giant conduit of sewage that gets pumped into your house. All you have to do is plug in your computer. So I took a lot of steps in Colton's life, and some of them may not necessarily have helped him out much. He's a pretty bright kid. And he has been able to essentially overcome that handicap that I put on him. Because when he was 9 and 10 and 11 years old, I just wouldn't let him get near a computer, not without being right there with him. And then something that was truly infuriating happened. The schools Colton happened to be attending mandated that kids have at least an iPad, which put them in complete touch with this very destructive force. And I was mad. Still am, actually. But what it did is it put us in a situation where suddenly we had to be very, very cautious, and we had to spend a lot of time watching what Colton was doing. We had to spend a lot of time counseling him about what to go, where to go on the internet and where not to go on the internet. And as he got older and so on, he managed, in most respects, to get through the minefield of the internet relatively unscathed. This includes, of course, social networking, social media. So it was a little bit annoying when Chamath, and I'm going to try to Palapatia, there we go. Palapatia, Chamath Palapatia, whatever. I'm just going to call him Chamath. A former Facebook executive and CEO of the venture capital firm Social Capital said in a November interview that social media is damaging society and voiced concerns about its impact on his own children. In a November interview at the Stanford Graduate School of Business, Chamath, the co-owner of the Golden State Warriors, said that he felt tremendous guilt for helping build Facebook into the behemoth it is today. He joined the company in 2007 as a vice president for user growth, 3 years after it was founded in a Harvard dorm room by Mark Zuckerberg. I think we all knew in the back of our minds, even though we feigned this line of unintended consequences, I think in the back recesses of our minds, we knew that something bad could happen. It literally is at a point now where we've created tools that are ripping apart the social fabric of how society works. That is literally where we are. I would encourage all of you to internalize this. If you feed the beast will destroy you. He added that our use of social media is becoming dangerous for society. The short-term dopamine-driven feedback loops we've created are destroying how society works. No civil discourse, no cooperation, misinformation, mistruth. It's not an American problem. It's not about Russian ads. This is a global problem. So we're in a really bad state of affairs right now, in my opinion. It's eroding the core foundations of how people behave by and between each other. I don't know that he isn't overstating his concerns a bit. I will tell you that what we have here is we have the world's greatest example of free speech. The internet is free speech. That's what free speech looks like. That is what free speech looks like. You can find anything. And it's eyebrow raising, if not eye watering, to see some of the things that you can find on the internet. Then again, it's also truly amazing to see the enlightenment that can come from that very same source. There are just as many societally improving things as there are societally destructing things on the internet. It just depends on which side or which part of the internet you feel that you want to be a part of. Which dog do you feed? The wolf or the golden retriever? Has our symbiotic interconnection with the internet made our society better or worse as far as you're concerned? Has it made it better or worse? I think the jury is still out, which means I believe that after a very difficult amount of time, that American society, if not world society, has pretty much settled into the realities of the internet. In my particular use of this amazing information source, it gives me an opportunity to do things that no talk show host, certainly no news-based talk show, has ever been able to do. I spend hours preparing this show, but instead of being able to be essentially stuck with a relatively few news sources, in the hours that I set aside to put this show together, I can go around the world, and often do, in search of the real story that I report to you every day. That would be something that would be impossible in the days of ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN. Would be impossible otherwise. But it is not, thankfully, based on the fact that our world is interconnected with this thing called an internet. Have people been damaged? Have people been damaged by this amazing technical triumph? Yes. But then again, there have always been damages when there have been new things. I can imagine that the first people that ever were victims of traffic accidents were amazed at the amount of force that could be unleashed when two vehicles going even 10 or 15 miles an hour contacted each other. The people that were victims of the first T-bone accident between cars must have been amazed at how quickly their bones could break and how quickly their lives could end. Same thing with airplanes. Suddenly you could see things from way up in the air, and suddenly you could crash to the ground, and suddenly you could crash to the ground into somebody's house. So any technical achievement takes with it and brings with it an amazing difference in the world society. Not so long ago, in order to get around the world, you had to go aboard a ship. And we were marveling at how quickly you could travel from one part of the world to another. But when airplanes started crossing the oceans, it is not odd or strange that you could indeed spend the weekend in Germany if you felt like it. And by the way, those Lufthansa flights that take you from here to Germany, they are wonderful things to behold. Perhaps one of our very best, one of the best places I've ever gone. I got there on Lufthansa and I had a wonderful time. It's a great airline. So here we are. The man who created Facebook is not letting his children have anything to do with Facebook. I think that belies a certain caution that I certainly tried to instill in my family, but really wasn't successful at. I doubt that he'll be successful keeping his family away from the internet as well. And I think that as this unfolds, he'll realize that maybe we'll be okay. It wasn't that long ago when somebody said that at some point, human beings would be so bombarded from a sensory perception point of view that they simply would not be able to cope with the constant bombardment of information, conversation, so on. All that being said, we now walk around with smartphones, and we constantly look at them, bombarding ourselves with this information, keeping ourselves constantly in touch with our world around us. So after my own particular attempt to try to protect my son, I have come to the conclusion that just like anything else, the best way to protect your son is to have conversations with them about what they deal with, including the internet. This is the Wells Report. Back in a moment.
All right, man.
All right, man.
Coming to the last segment here.
Last dang segment. Last dang segment. Last dang segment. Oh, it's funny.
All right, man. Back in 1 minute. All right, sir. Back in 30 seconds.
You are listening to the Wells Report. I am John David Wells, and this telephone number is still 844-927-6691, 844-927-6691. From Catherine Lamb of Fox News, the Bangladeshi man accused of strapping a pipe bomb to his body and detonating it in a subway passageway wrote on Facebook before the attack that President Trump had failed to protect the U.S. and left handwritten notes in his home saying, "Oh, America, die in your rage." Akayed Ullah is the guy's name. He's 27 years old. He lived in Brooklyn, entered the U.S. in 2011 via chain migration. You know how that works? Somebody from Bangladesh won a lottery and got a visa. Once they were here, they brought their relatives with them. How very nice. Anyway, so for no apparent reason, he was here in the United States. He got himself a hack license. He was driving a cab. He was doing okay from what we understand. But then he decided that what he was going to do was try to destroy his new home in an act of pathological rage that I still don't really understand. He planned the attack for the Islamic State, was angry about U.S. policies in the Middle East. Really? Trump, you failed to protect your nation. The pipe bomb was packed with explosive powder. It didn't go off as intended when he ignited it with Christmas lights, matches, and a 9-volt battery. The device was filled with metal screws to cause maximum damage, and he attached it to his body with zip ties. But just before Eula arrived in Midtown Manhattan, he took the train from his Brooklyn home, sitting next to scores of unsuspecting commuters for about an hour. He got on the train ready to go, a law enforcement source told the New York Daily News. Police that he chose the specific spot of the passageway after he saw a Christmas poster. He said he set it off at that place in time. That's the point where he decided to do it. He was charged with supporting an act of terrorism, making terroristic threats, and criminal possession of a weapon. He remains in the hospital, expects to be arraigned later, probably tomorrow or the next day. He began radicalizing as early as 2014, according to the complaint, adding that he had looked at ISIS propaganda online, including instructions on how to carry out an attack in the U.S. if he couldn't travel overseas to join ISIS. He learned how to make the bomb online about a year ago, spent his last 2 to 3 weeks planning the attack. He wasn't on the radar of law enforcement officials prior to the attack. John Miller, NYPD Deputy Commissioner of Intelligence and Counterterrorism, told CBS Today. So here you go. Young man now taunting the president of the country that he made his home. Somebody coming to the United States, radicalized not necessarily by anything except hatred of a different society, probably from some bitter imam who in most particular cases maybe just doesn't understand this nation that he hopes to destroy, and will recruit people like this young person, Akayed Ullah, to do that deadly and dirty work. This is the second terrorist attack in New York in 6 weeks. It is my hope that many things happen, not the least of which is that the American people finally decide for all time and all places that coming to the United States to destroy our fellow Americans and trying to damage our society and the way we do our lives and live our lives is a fool's errand that will end in nothing but ruination for the people that are perpetrators, not their supposed victims. You've been listening to The Wells Report. Our executive producer is the Philip Brown. Thanks very much to Mike Hawkins, our studio coordinator. See you tomorrow on the USA Radio Network.
All right, sir. Good show today.
Thank you very much.
All right, man. Have a good evening, and we'll see you back tomorrow.
Yeah, you too. Take good care, Mike.
All right, man.
Bye-bye.